This week's episode is going to be all about food insecurity. Find out at the end of this episode how you too can stop food insecurity in your neighborhood with the help of Rise Against Hunger, a local charitable organization whose mission statement is to do just that: stop food insecurity all over the world. And here we go. This is my personal experience that I had with Rise Against Hunger right now on Marshall's Bazaar. Hello, people of the universe, and welcome to another episode of Marshall's Bazaar, starring me, Marshall Brown. As I've said earlier, this week we're going to be covering food insecurity. Now, what is food insecurity? It is basically a social term used to describe whether a person or a group of persons doesn't know where their next meal is going to come from, how they're going to get it, or what they're going to do about it once they do have it, whether or not they're going to ration it out, or whether or not they're going to worry about the next meal after that. It's very important. It basically all boils down to hunger across the entire world. This is a problem that affects us all because we can't live like we're in an episode of The Walking Dead. No, we have the right resources to stop world hunger, so I believe we should do it. And that was my reformation that I had after I had a bit of a run-in, a bit of a visit, a bit of a nice time, more like it, with Rise Against Hunger. So I got a job, and I'm living in Morrisville because of that wonderful, beautiful job. And one of the things that we did was a bit of a charitable volunteer day where we helped out a local organization with their daily work, and we did it for people in need because, Fidelity cares. That's just something that I'm going to stick by when I'm there with them and stuff like that. But here we go. This was my experience. We showed up to a Rise Against Hunger facility, and we helped out with bagging together little food bags that feed a family of 6 that include all of the necessary vitamins and nutrients that someone needs for every meal. And by the end of this episode, you too will find out how you can support Rise Against Hunger. So, yeah, this is a place that was close by. It was a local little nice place doing some nice things. But here's the real impact that I was able to help out with, that me and my coworkers had with all the other people. We bagged up all of these food bags in a bit of a, assembly line, have you. But we did so in support of 44,000 different families and people from all over the world that depend on Rise Against Hunger to help out with their food situation. I want you to think about that number for a second. 44,000 people is a lot of people, and I couldn't even believe that I was able to help out that many people just with the, I'd say, 3.5 hours of work that I put into doing this stuff. It was amazing, to say the least, touching and inspiring. But how did we do all of this? Well, these food bags that I've mentioned that are made at the Rise Against Hunger facility are food bags that comprise mostly of rice and vegetable extracts put together, and the nutrition facts on the bag basically state that it's a bunch of just 100% vitamins and key nutrients all put together, topped with a vitamin seasoning. But we put the bags together with a rice bag, and we just put the rice in first. That's what one person would do, because everybody had their own job. And then after they fill up the rice, they fill up the bag with the vegetable extracts, dried up and put to go with the rice. And then they add in the seasoning, and then they put a whole crate of bags together. My job was to be a runner. I would take the completed set of bags, and I would run them over to, I believe, the people that just would sort out and weigh how much rice was in the bags, whether or not it was sufficient, and then they just throw it to the people who would box them up in the shipping boxes. Everybody did a pretty good job of coming together and really putting these bags together. And we did it with happiness and joy because they played music while we were all going about all of this stuff. And while I cannot show most of the pictures that have been taken, I can see what we did and what they looked like, and it was just, very nice. I really liked what I did. It was good spirit, and I sure did sweat a whole lot afterwards, which was good because they gave us a t-shirt to wear, so we didn't have to come in with work clothes. And by the end of it, I even got to take home my very own food bag, despite the fact that I'm not what you'd consider food insecure. I wanted to try out the food for myself. So now that I've reviewed most of what I've done for the organization and my volunteer opportunity, I'm going to review the food that they put together. After all, I described what went into it, and I was curious, what would I be eating? Was it good? And honestly, it can be. There's a lot that you can actually do to make the food better. Well, but let me just give you what the baseline is. It gives you exactly what you need. You got the rice, you got the carrots, you got the built-in vitamin seasoning. It gives you what you need if you make it on the spot. But of course, that bag feeds 6 people, and I'm just only one person. So, of course, I split the bags up, and I split the whole rice meal up into 6 different portions so that I can feed myself for 6 days. But of course, eating leftovers can get the food to deteriorate. That's why you always got to have a thing of salt and pepper handy. And what I did when I cooked my food bag was add a little bit of butter and margarine. Butter makes everything taste better. I can't talk. I'm talking about cooking, but I can't talk. I was just trying to mention that I just added paprika, rosemary, and a couple of other spices just to make it taste better. And you could do that too if you get your own food bag after volunteering at Rise Against Hunger for a day. Or if you just happen to have those spices on check, But yeah, their food is actually better than I thought it would be, with a little bit of help from Chef Marshall. Hopefully everybody else enjoys it just as much as I did, because they definitely do a good job with putting all of those standard ingredients together. Now, let me just tell you something significant about this episode. Today, I wanted to actually do a bit of an experiment. I wanted to record this episode after about a whole 3 meals worth of fasting. I'm not going to be eating until lunch later today. But as of now, I'm feeling very hungry. I actually did this on purpose so that I can actually describe how it feels to feel hungry. I don't feel good. I just want to eat. That's all I can think about. But I'm used to being able to eat 3 square meals a day. If I don't feel so good right now, being hungry as I am, just imagine how people all around the world feel. People who can't necessarily afford to get their next meal. People who have to survive by eating out of garbage cans just to get their next fill. Rise Against Hunger is an organization that seeks to help and stop food insecurity and hunger all across the world. I can tell you, as somebody who's pretty hungry myself, it's important that people get their next meal. And so that's why you too should definitely help support Rise Against Hunger. I've got a link in the description of this podcast below in the SoundCloud description. Go ahead and click on that and check the site out, see how you can help, see how you can volunteer. They do group events, they do birthday parties. It's a great organization, and you can even donate directly to them if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, definitely support Rise Against Hunger when you get the chance. I loved the volunteer experience. The food was pretty decent, and it's a really important cause that affects everybody. So before I pass out, I'm going to go ahead and finish things up. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Marshall's Bazaar. I can barely remember the name. I think first thing I'm going to do is just walk across the street to where Jasmine Mediterranean is. I might do a bit of a review about them next time while we're on the subject of food. But yeah, don't forget to check out Rise Against Hunger when you get the chance, and don't forget to check me out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and follow me. See what I've got. And don't forget to check back every other week, or not every other week. God. Again, I can't think when I'm hungry, but, just let me try again. Don't forget to come back every single week for an all-new episode of Marshall's Bazaar, only right here on my SoundCloud. MC Brown's the name, and music and podcasts are my game. Thank you so much for listening in, and don't forget to check out next week's episode. Next week's episode, we'll be talking about something different. I gotta go eat now. Thank you so much for listening. Marshall Brown, out!